how in the world can I take vacations if for the last 3 years I've been holding my breath with money so much? Ready to pack your bags and go this summer? Awesome, because today I'm answering that question and I'm gonna give you my 5 hot tips to make it happen. But before we dive into today's episode, do you know most of new entrepreneurs never become profitable because their money blocks literally sabotage their success? I know, but this doesn't have to be you. I've created a unique one-on-one money block diagnosis to turn your block into a strength. And this session is only available for people listening to this podcast. And spots are very limited, so book yours now at alejandrar.com/exclusive. Man, I couldn't have picked a better topic for today because I'm not only talking about what I love and what is my lifestyle, really, but I'm currently with one of my friends, Mariely, in Puerto Rico, and you are going to have a pretty good insights from both of us. So this is going to be an epic episode. You're listening to the Happy and Wealthy Bilingual Podcast, a place where we combine personal finance with powerful lessons to expand your money mindset so you can embody the wealthiest and happiest version of yourself. I'm your host, Alejandra Rojas, finance professional and money mindset expert, and here is your weekly episode to start shifting your reality. So today, for answering that question, I have a very good insight on the journey because I'm right now here in Puerto Rico with Mariely Sylvette, and I can't wait to tell you all about our hot tips for you to actually take a vacation this summer. So welcome, Mariely.
Hi, Alejandra. I'm so excited. I'm so thrilled to be here.
We are so happy that you are here and that you are showing me La Isla del Encanto, you guys. I cannot be more excited to talk to you about this today, not only because this is like one of my favorite topics, but also because this is my lifestyle. And what a best moment to record this episode than actually having gone through that last week and, all the process, like I'm literally out of my house. This is going to be epic. But I want to start by walking you through Mariely's experience on her trip to Greece. Talk to us about that. And really, how do you come to terms that this was the time for you to start traveling?
Thank you, Alejandra, for the opportunity to share about my dream trip to the Greek islands last year on 2021. First of all, this came about in December 2020. When my friend invited me, she told me about this cruise that would go to Israel, Turkey, and the Greek islands. And I had been, for the last couple of months during 2020, writing down my goals on a notebook every single day. And I had been writing about manifesting a dream, to Europe, to the Greek islands, to Portugal, to different places, right? So when she tells me that there is a possibility to go on a cruise with my friends to all these places, I was like, oh my goodness, I just manifested the trip. But I thought I couldn't afford it at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay, how much time do I have to think about this? And she tells me, well, you know what? All we need right now is a very small deposit. It was like $250, split it by two. So it was very doable. And she tells me, and then we don't have to pay anything until like the summer. And I was like, oh, okay. And then I started thinking about it and I was like, but what am I doing? I do have the money. I remembered I have like these different accounts where I like hide money from myself, investment accounts and different types of accounts. And I was like, but what am I doing? I do have the money. So I called her back and I said, you know what? We are doing this. And she was like, okay. And I sent her the money for the deposit. And then I kind of reorganized myself. I was like, if I want to make this happen, because I need to settle to pay off the balance of the trip by the summer, I need to work differently. I need to start making more money so I can pay this trip and feel all right and not feel like I am now struggling. I didn't want that. So that was like my domino effect goal.
Right. Love that. Love that.
It was like that. And everything I did, I was so intentional that year. I mean, it has been my best year ever. At the end of the day, now in 2022, when I did my taxes with my accountant, he was like, this was such a great year.
Yeah.
And people tell me like, you should go to Greece every year.
Right. I know. This is what I'm saying.
It helped me so much to thrive economically once I made the decision, like, this is happening. This is what we're doing. And let's make it happen. And you know what? You told me like, why did I think it was the time to do it? I thought after living in the pandemic for already almost 1 year, right? At that time, I was sick and tired of being locked down at home. And I figured life, it's what you make of it. And if I have all these dreams, what am I waiting for?
Right.
I need to do this now. And since the results were so amazing, I decided that every year now, I'm going to take one of the trips from my bucket list and make it happen.
I know. So, oh my goodness. Wait. Let me break that one down because you guys, I've been like since the moment that Mariely decided to go and I've been like walking this journey with her. And it's so mind blowing because she mentioned something that I teach you inside of the challenge, the Ignite Your Money Mind challenge, which is your domino effect goal. But before we dive into that, and because my goal with this episode is to give you the 5 hot tips for you to make it happen, I want to start like tackling those tips with Mariely's story. The first tip that I have for you is that you have to walk away from what happened before and start giving yourself the space to have dreams. Like you guys heard, she was writing it down in her journal. She was putting all of this effort and this is what I want to do. For this manifestation, as you said it, comes to reality, you have to give yourself to dream. Like you have to allow yourself to go there to see, okay, what is it that you want to do? Give yourself that clean page to start dreaming about what is it that you want. So just take it as it is, because if you continue anchoring yourself to, I don't have money, I cannot make this happen, like all these things are happening in my life, and you don't literally force yourself out of that cycle, most likely you're always going to be in that cycle. And it doesn't have to be that you invest money right away. It never is. You first have to give yourself the permission to say, you know what? I want to go to Greece. And then you have to work through those feelings of, oh my God, I want to go to Greece. It's just like, it's different stages of you coming to the realization that this is what you want to do. Money is not the end of things. It's just the mean to do something. And I want you, as your first hot tip, I want you to tap into that vision. What is it that you want to do? What is it that you have been writing secretly on your journal? What is it that your inner voice is telling you where you want to go this summer? And that for X or Y reason, you have shut that voice down. It's time to start listening to it and start putting it on paper. So tell us what you want. Come to the Instagram, come to the comments. Just say it to somebody. Even if it is that girl in front of the mirror, just say something and start walking through those feelings of knowing that you want something different. So that's the first thing that you did. Now, the second thing is that you actually listened to this kind of invitation that your friend had for you. I want to dive a little bit deeper on this because not everybody has that ability to say, you know what, I do have the money. What was going through your mind from the moment that Vanessa called you and said, this is happening, like this is an opportunity, to the moment that you thought about the other accounts that you had and you came to the determination of, yes, I'm doing this. What was that thought process?
Well, let me tell you that at that moment, I was actually receiving coaching about specifically my money beliefs. I was working through that those same days, those same weeks. I was working with a coach and we were talking about my money stories, my money beliefs. And since I was working through it, I was able to see, oh my goodness, this is the money belief that I have been working on for the past years. I have been thinking all the time, I don't have the money, when I really do have it. So I understood how powerful that was holding me back, because it's not that I did not have the money. It's the thought, right? It was holding me back while having money. It was crazy. So I was always thinking I have no money. And that was a very powerful, there were 2 times during that month of December 2020. It was very iconic for me. I actually traveled, but I traveled to Florida. I live in Puerto Rico and I traveled to Florida to see my family, as I usually do every year during Christmas time. That's basically the trip that I do. I mean, obviously I want to spend time with my family, but it's also because I have to, you know?
Right. It's one thing coming from desire and the other thing coming from commitment.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. That's what it was for me. And being able to jump in that plane to go to Florida at that moment, even though it was by commitment, but I did want it to also. It's also a healing process for me.
Right.
Because during the pandemic, I spent so much time, again, lockdown, by myself.
Yeah.
By myself, because I couldn't spend time with other people because, you know, people were scared of that. Those very first stages of the pandemic, right? So I felt so lonely. So being able to be there was such a healing process for me. And again, the help of that coach, of the conversations we had and the process that I've been through many reflections, many breakthroughs regarding money. I mean, it's not something that happened in 5 minutes. No, I think it happened so fast because of all the time that I had already spent working on it months before that.
That's the thing, right? Like, you don't have breakthroughs when you start working on it. I mean, you do have breakthroughs, but sometimes those breakthroughs don't feel or don't seem like, oh, look, everything that I have accomplished. But this is a process of transformation. And I actually posted not too long ago a quote from these Latina travels because I was watching her journey. She's now debt free and she published it. And I was like, this is amazing because this is a girl that traveled around the world, and not only because we are Latinas that travel, but it was because she said, my financial journey is the reflection of my growth as a woman. And I think that's 100% accurate. Like, it's just on point. It is like that. You have to grow so that you can see how your money is supporting. But to your point, working on those beliefs, working on your money story, that's my second hot tip. You have to start addressing why you haven't allowed to fulfill yourself. Because it is not that one day we woke up and we say, oh, I want to go to Greece. Or it was not like one day I woke up and said, oh, I want to start traveling the world. No, this is things that build up month after month, year after year. It's not like one time my client, which is the one that I'm taking this question from, she woke up and said, you know what? I want to do this. I want to go back to Mexico and visit my family. It's something that has been on her mind. It has been on your mind. It has been on my mind for a long time. But you actually have to address the why you haven't allowed yourself so far to even think about traveling, specifically traveling for summer. Specifically traveling this year. It's like that why and that block, for a lack of a better word, that block is your money block.
Exactly.
If you can take anything away from this episode today, I want you to know that the reason why you haven't allowed yourself to go there is the money block that is just screaming so loud. I'm waiting to be released. And I have an even deeper top hot tip for you, which is go and find out what is that money block. I've created a unique one-on-one money block diagnosis to turn your block into a strength. And this session is only available for people listening to this podcast. And spots are very limited. So book yours now at alejandrar.com/exclusive. What is the money block that is speaking the loudest for you right now? Because that is the reason why you haven't allowed yourself to go through those places. And when you don't allow yourself to really know your story, know your blocks, you won't allow yourself to say, I can go to Greece. You won't allow yourself to say, like in Mariely's case, you know what? I am going. Like, this opportunity doesn't come around very often. I'm taking it. I love that. So after that you say yes and everything, you were committed. You said that you didn't want to feel like you were struggling with money. What happened before that? Like, once you told Vanessa, yes, I'm going, did you freak out? What happened through your mind and how you talked to yourself in order for, you know what, make this happen in the best position that you could have ever?
Well, I was very excited, first of all, because I felt like this is it. I've been trying to manifest. I've been working on these goals for so long. And it's happening. It's materializing. I have this opportunity. But of course, there's always this little feeling of, oh my God, how is this going to happen? You know, how am I going to save all that money? Because it's not only the trip to Greece, it's also the expenses that you're going to have and other things, because that trip started in New York. Again, I live in Puerto Rico, so we needed to get tickets to New York. And then from there was the package that we purchased.
Right.
Also, we decided, thank God I was so open to it, because my friend told me, you know what? I've been talking to my friends, the friends that invited her, that it is recommended that we stay a couple of nights in Greece before taking the cruise, because otherwise we won't be able to enjoy or see Athens. And I was like, it's so true. Of course, I want to stay a couple of nights in Athens. I mean, it's a no-brainer. I'm a very adventurous spirit. But then I was like, oh my God, I need to add this
Right, to the list.
Exactly. So it's now 2 nights in a hotel, plus all the meals, plus transportation and everything else. Okay, so I had to think about a bigger number that I needed to save so I could do all this trip and buy presents and really enjoy myself, because the worst thing in the world you can do is travel without money, right? So I wanted to have money to be able to eat out, enjoy, buy presents, souvenirs. I wanted to have the whole experience. So yeah, I felt like it didn't matter how much I would work. I would always end up around the same amount of money. That's how I was feeling. And that's how I decided, you know what? This is a money story. There's no other explanation around it. And that's how I got to the coach. And also, seeing my numbers at the end of each year, it's like, oh my goodness, I made all this money. And where is it?
Right.
So all these things were like the red flags or the hints telling me you need to work on your money stories.
Right.
So yeah, there was excitement and there was this little fear, like, how is this going to happen?
How am I going to, yeah.
But you know what? I mean, I've been an entrepreneur for 12 years.
Yeah.
I'm the kind of person who had made decisions in the past. Like I've made many other trips for my business that I've been like, okay, let me just make a reservation. I've already had been in the process of dealing with this in many different creative ways that I can tell you about later. Yeah. The practical tips. But yeah, I was like, okay, you know what? All I need to focus now is, how do I achieve this? How do I make it happen?
Right. So here's the thing, and it just goes back to what we talk about, the commitment and the desire or worth it amount. And this is very logical money, right? So the moment that you started to seeing it like taking shape was the moment when you said yes to Vanessa.
Absolutely.
Because it was a commitment. Before that, it was like, well, yes, no, maybe not. And that's exactly the same that happens when you pay bills. If you are a person that is listening and, you know, you say, well, I got money to pay my bills, but I don't have money to do anything else. This is your answer. It's because you do have the money. You just have a commitment. So that commitment becomes your priority. That commitment becomes the minimum amount of money that you have to make. And when you discover that, you open up a new spectrum because you tell your brain, when you work in your money story, when you work in your money beliefs, you start telling your brain, I'm not going for my commitment amount. I'm going for the desire amount.
Exactly.
I'm going for, this is what I will make happen. And then it becomes like the commitment amount. But if you continue on this dark room where the only light is your commitment money, then you're going to just not make enough, because that's not the word, but you're just going to appreciate and account for only the commitment amount. And that's why working on your money story is so powerful. We are not irresponsible people. We are not somebody that will say, you know what, I won't pay this bill. I won't make it. You want to work your ass off to make that happen. You have to. It's part of your values. And then money shows up.
Yep.
So it's so interesting to me to hear that after you say yes to Vanessa, that's how everything started. And that was your red flag. And probably for many people listening, it's going to be the red flag as well. But I'm curious to know, After all this effort, after working on all this, you arrived to Greece. Mm-hmm. What were your feelings once you arrived to Greece? Once you said, I am here.
I was like a little kid, like a child in Disney World. That excitement, oh my God, I cannot even describe it. I reconnected with the adventurous side of myself, and I loved every minute of that trip, you know? I mean, it was also such a healing experience. I was like, this is it. This is what I love to do, and this is what I should be doing more. Why am I not doing this more often? Oh, of course, there was a pandemic. But
Right.
But, you know, I was like, I've been to Europe a couple of times, and I loved it every single time. I've been learning Italian since, I don't know, since over 20 years ago. And I've never been to Italy yet. So I decided,
next goal.
Yeah, that's on schedule already.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it was an excitement that I cannot put into words.
And after that, what is the ripple effect? Because this is still having ripple effect.
Let me tell you, many things happened in 2021 because that was like the trip, right? The commitment, the big commitment I had. But many other things happened. I was invited to speak at this conference in Arizona.
Right.
And I went to Arizona. And then I came back. And 2 weeks later, I was taking the trip to New York to go to Athens and all of that. And the cruise, it was like a 16 days trip. Then I came back for 2 weeks. And my sister invites me to spend the whole month of December.
That's right.
With her in Seattle. So I did that too. I spent 30 days with my sister in Seattle, and we had a wonderful time. And then when I was booking my flight back to Puerto Rico, I said, oh my God, what if I stop for a couple of weeks in Florida to actually come and see my family? And I also did that.
And this time wasn't out of commitment.
No, because I wanted to.
Yeah. Oh, this is it, right? This is the domino effect goal. And it really happens from your mind, from starting to address that story, those beliefs, that money mindset, because from a year, 2 years without traveling to be traveling to all of these places because you wanted to. That's a huge change. And this is it, right? We are getting closer to summer. We are out of quote unquote pandemic. You want to take a trip. Take this as a hint that this is the time to not only go for a vacation, but to show yourself that you can expand your money mindset. It is not about hustling and, do 20 hours of work and just work for the money. Because if you don't have a north on how to guide money, that's going to be pretty much not worth it. Oh my goodness, Mariely. I'm here processing what you have said. I'm saying, damn, this is so good. This is so good. And this is the first time, guys, that we are recording in the same room, the podcast. So I'm like, okay, let me process this because I did not know that. But I want to hear from you. So I've given you guys already 3 hot tips of my 5. But I'm going to let Mariely to give you 2 hot tips for somebody that knows, because you know that you want to go on a holiday, even a small getaway for this summer. You want to start reactivating your life after pandemic. What are 2 hot tips today for them to make it happen?
Take 1 step. At least 1 step. Do something. For example, as I was saying before, every time I had to go on a business travel, and it was probably an unexpected travel, I would say, okay, where can I start with this? Let me make the hotel reservation. Because hotel reservations, I mean, this is not about mindset per se. It's more like money management or practical tip or something else. But what I used to do is I would book the hotel.
Yeah.
Because they don't charge you anything. They just take the credit card number. I mean, some of reservations.
Yeah.
Most of them.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I already have somewhere to stay. And I know how much it will be with the taxes and everything. So I know now how much I'm going to need to make it happen. And then sometimes what I would do was to buy at least one of the tickets. Instead of buying the round trip, I'll buy a one-way ticket to that place. Of course, I'm not going to stay there forever. So at some point, I will get the one-way ticket back. So I would do it in steps, baby steps. And once I took that step of at least getting the one-way ticket to that place, it's like you say,
a commitment.
It's a commitment.
Yeah. Yes,
I'm
again.
like, I can't stay there.
Yeah, again. Okay.
The other thing is to open yourself to the possibilities. Because like Alejandra said, if I go back to think about what is it that I did differently in 2021, it was just being open to the possibilities.
Right.
I didn't take a part-time job. I didn't do Uber. I didn't do anything out of those. I just kept running my business like I usually do.
Right.
The only different thing was that I was open to the possibilities. For example, one friend asked me, like, Mariely, would you be open to give a conference about this topic? It's not like my regular topics, but it was kind of in there in my coaching topics. And I was like, you know what? It was a presentation inspired in a book, the 12-week year.
Yeah.
And I was game for it because I loved that book. And I was like, okay. And from that presentation, that was a paid speaking gig, she told me, you can offer, if you want, a companionship program, right? And I was like, oh, that's a great idea. And I did the program. And that was one of my most profitable programs of all the year because many people enrolled in the program and it became weekly, once a week, 1 hour, once a week, twice a month only. And I was getting recurring income from all these people enrolled. And it was
No hustling.
no hustling. No.
It's called alignment.
2 hours a month. That's it.
Yeah. So here's another thing, and I love those two tips, but something just popped out of my mind, and take this as a bonus. So in couples of episodes, we were talking about how to stop overspending, like the strategies and tips on how to stop overspending. And we talk about the dripping out effect, like when you slowly walk away from your overspending habits. I want you to add a little bit more to that formula and reward yourself. So if today, because you open up for the possibilities, because you are writing in your journal and you're saying, I'm going to take these vacations, I'm going to go this place this summer, and you start seeing that you are overspending and you start seeing that you are not guiding money the way that you want to guide, I want you to start slowly dripping away from those habits. And every time that you do it, I want you to find something, somehow, a way to reward yourself. What this exercise is going to do is that you're going to create a new neural connections in telling to your brain and your body, it is safe for me to go to this place. So when you said about your sister inviting you, you being open to the possibilities and having this the 12 weeks program, right? All of that was like rewarding yourself, because you guys, Mariely is the most amazing woman to go. Let's get it done. We can do this. We can do that. So I know that this really fires you up. And the fact that you were able to produce this content was like a reward for you. That was your indication. I'm in the right track. So I want you that is listening to find a way to reward yourself. the person that this episode is inspired to, the person that did this question, it's one of my clients. And the way that she found out to reward herself was by taking a bubble bath. So she has this most epic bath, like her showers are the type of showers that she visualized the water going, and it's magic. It's so beautiful what she does. And it's really like her nurture moment. She took that moment to reward herself every single day, to even get away from the thought of, I cannot make this happen. I don't have the money. And she's a person that at the time that when we started, she had no income by herself. She was just there and she said, I need to change this. I need to break this story. I'm opening up for the possibilities. And every time that she would walk away from the thought of, I don't have money, or I cannot be thinking about going on a trip, she would reward herself. So, oh my goodness, Mariely, anything else that you want to say to this person that is listening to us right now?
I do. It's important to start acting. Once you decide that you're going to do this, start acting. Be very intentional about this is already happening. When my sister invited me to spend Christmas with her, it was a couple of months, like probably 4 or 5 months before all the trips. So when I kind of took a look at my agenda, I saw that I'm not going to be here in part of October. I'm not going to be here these 2 weeks in November and then December. I said, you know what? I need to organize myself to generate everything I'm supposed to generate in 2021 as of my income for the year in my business by October 31st.
Right.
That's what I decided. That was my decision, because then I'm going to be traveling and coming back, and it's going to be a little time. If I do something in those little times that I'm going to be back, it's going to be a bonus.
Yeah.
But I focused myself that all I have is until October 31st. That's it.
And this is great because next episode, what we're going to talk about is the hustling culture and vacations and all of the things that come up to the surface. And now you know that there is another way. So we leave that for the next episode. Thank you so much, Mariely, for making this episode with me.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for inviting me.